Hi, this is Martha Moody again, and we're going to continue with the third method of multiplication. This one is actually a special case called FOIL, F-O-I-L. It's an acronym. It involves one special case, which is multiplying two binomials. It cannot be used for anything else except when you have two terms times two terms. FOIL stands for first, outer, inner, and last. So the first means the first term in each binomial. Outer means the two terms that are on the outside, the ones that are the furthest apart. Inner means the two that are on the inside that are closest together. And last means the last term in each binomial. So where we have the example of x plus 2 times x minus 3, I'm going to scroll this up just a little bit. So when we have this example, the first term in the binomial x plus 2 is x, and the first term in the binomial x minus 3 is x. So our first term is going to be x times x. On the outside, we have the x and the negative 3. Those are the two that are furthest apart. Again, remember, when we take terms, we have to take the sign that goes with them. So we're taking x times negative 3. Our next one is going to be the ones that are closest together, which is the 2 and the x, so that's 2 times x for 2x. And then finally we have the terms that are the last ones in each of the binomials, which is the positive 2 times the negative 3. So now we have our four different terms all set up for multiplication. X times x gives us x squared. X times negative 3 gives us negative 3x. And 2 times x gives us 2x, and then the last one, 2 times negative 3, gives us negative 6x. When we combine those, then the two terms that we have for the outer and inner combine because they are like terms. So we add negative 3x plus 2x gives us negative 1x, or simply negative x. So our answer for this one then is going to be x to the second minus x minus 3. And again, here's just a recap. The first terms, the outer terms, the inner terms, and the two last terms. You can also multiply this the long way. If you have x plus 2 times x minus 3, we can set it up in the example of the video and the lecture notes that preceded this one. And just go ahead and multiply negative 3 times everything on the top row and get negative 3x minus 6. We can take the x times everything on the top row, which gives us x to the second plus 2x, and then we draw our line and add our terms that are alike together. We get exactly the same answer. You'll notice that when we do it this way, we have exactly the same four multiplications, which you would expect with two terms times two terms to give us the 4, but this way they're lined up so that we know which terms are alike, and we can go ahead and combine those. Again, we can use either way to do this. If you don't want to learn the FOIL and you like the long multiplication way, you can continue doing all the problems with long multiplication rather than the FOIL. What I'd like you to do then is pause the video and try these examples that are right here. There are 6 of them. 5 of them are set up to where you can use FOIL or long multiplication. On the 6th one, you can use either the long multiplication, or if you like doing it in a more linear form, you can use it that way. So pause the video, try the examples. If you want to check your answers before we proceed, then you can go ahead and stop it and check those answers on the next page. So we'll pause it here, and then you can continue. Here were the answers if you wanted to go ahead and double check those again. The last thing that we're going to talk about in this video recording is the special cases. Instead of using the formulas for special cases, you can simply use the definition of exponents and then use either the long way to multiply or FOIL to multiply. So the first special case that would be in your textbook is x plus or a plus b to the second power. The definition of that is just simply a plus b times a plus b, both of those in quantities. So when you do that, you'll get exactly the same answer that you do if you use that special case formula that's in the textbook. The second special case is a minus b, the quantity squared, which is the quantity of a minus b times the quantity of a minus b. Multiply that out the long way or use FOIL to multiply it. The third special case is the quantity of a plus b times the quantity of a minus b. Rather than using the formula for the special case, you can multiply those out again using the long layer FOIL. If you've done a fair number of these problems and you understand the special cases and want to use them, by all means go ahead and use them. But if you haven't had algebra for a while and it's kind of hard to follow some of the formulas sometimes, just go ahead and use the way that you know how. So I'll give an example then of using the special case 1, where you have the quantity of 4x plus 1, the quantity squared. We're just going to rewrite that using 4x plus 1 times 4x plus 1. For instance, if we use FOIL to multiply this, we're going to have 4x times 4x, which is 16x to the second. The outside is going to be 4x times 1, which is 4x. The inside is 1 times 4x, which is another 4x. And then the last term is positive 1 times positive 1, which is another positive 1. Combining the inner and the outer terms would give us 8x. So our answer would be 16x to the second plus 8x, excuse me, plus 1. The special case 2, instead of having it the quantity of 4x minus 1 squared, would be simply the quantity of 4x minus 1 times 4x minus 1. Using the long multiplication or FOIL would give us 16x to the second minus 8x plus 1. You have some examples on your homework and some examples on the practice test that I've given you that will show them with a quantity to the second power. This is how I recommend working those problems. So at this point we'll go ahead and stop the video, and the next one will continue on looking at kind of the opposite of multiplication, which will be factoring. So we will pick up on the next video then.